Well, welcome aboard, my boys. This evening, I'm going to show you a little bit about the English KHAUTRA, as I call it, the KHAUTRA. And also, I'm going to show you a little bit about my glove. You know, I don't really make these movies for trolls and haters and all these kinds of little twits. I make them for you guys that enjoy archery and find that it's difficult and you'd like to learn a little bit more. So that's what we're doing here. Now, one of the fellows that watch, his name is YASER Jaffrey. And anyhow, YASER went and got a glove like I use. So I thought, if the guy is paying you such a compliment that he's going to actually copy you, you might as well help him out a little bit. So he was asking about the glove. Now, the glove has an adjustment up here. You can take this strap off and you have 4 different holes where you can adjust it. That way you can adjust it for your wrist. Now, this one has a strap, but my glove has shot way over 100,000 shots. And the strap actually finally broke off after a year or two. So I just took a little leather thong and put it on there. That's all it is, and it holds it fine. The other thing is that he noticed that my finger strips here are twisted. Well, the reason for that is to make the glove fit your finger. If you turn this, it will be just like turning the string on a bow, and it will actually get shorter. And so you can adjust it to the length of your finger by adjusting this and just twisting the finger stalls until they shorten, okay? So that's one good thing about it. Also, it has very hard leather here. This is cordovan, very hard horse leather. And that's what I have here. And I put the glove on the string and I just pull it a little bit until it started to get a crease. And that's how I found the position for it. But one of the complaints that I heard was that the thread wears off the tab here. And that's true. Mine is worn off many times. And I simply take crazy glue and I put a few drops on there and hold it like that, and it bonds in just a few seconds and it's as good as new. So again, this glove has shot way over 100,000 shots. It's working great. It's very hard, and it lets me get a good grip and a nice release. Anyhow, that's what I had to say about the glove. Okay, YASER? Anyhow, let's do some shooting now. Back in a minute. Okay, my friends. So the other day I showed you a way of standing, which I showed you where we stand on our back right foot, step forward and off on an angle, and that puts us right on line. That puts our shoulders on line. Now, that's fine, but I've changed that today, and I'm doing this now, and that is I'm lining everything up with my head and the cant and angle, and then I'm simply taking a step forward with my front foot to anchor the point, and then a backward step with my back foot to anchor the back of the arrow. So it's just what I call the step. Now, I'll show you what I mean. If I'm doing the first way I was showing you, you see if I'm standing kind of normal and I put my arms up, you see how the bow is off to the side. But if I take a step forward in that way, it will bring my shoulders right on. You see that? So I'm right on. So that's why we can do that. Forward and just step out. But I prefer to have a long draw, and I've modified that a little bit where we're not just standing on our right foot, but we're moving both feet. So in this case, it will be simply that I'm going to point the arrow before I move my feet or anything. I'm going to point the arrow at the target, okay? And now I'll take a front step, that will hold it there, and now a back step. It's right on, you see that? So it's a very, very simple way of doing it, because I'll tell you, all these people that stand sideways, there's no line between your feet out in the woods, that's only at target ranges where you have 10 people in a row so they all want to stand sideways. It's the most unnatural stance of them all, you know. But anyhow, if you put your weak eye on, you point that arrow, you take your little step forward and a little step backwards, and of course line up the head. And I'm anchoring here these days, so I'm putting my eye and this part of my face behind the arrow. Very simple, and it works great. Point, step, step. How simple can that be? Anyhow, that's what I had to say, is we're lining up very simply, and then we're just going to draw straight all the way back to our anchor, which is going to be right up around here these days. Now, I'll be back in a minute. We'll do some. Oh, and when we get back, we're going to start to do the KHAUTRA, because that's what we're really here. I'm trying to show you the KHAUTRA. It's just that I changed my stance. Okay, back in a minute. Okay, guys. You know, YASER, you're saying that it looks like I'm directing the arrow towards the target. Well, that's what I'm doing. You know, Howard Hill, he said to hold it on like it's in a vise. Well, that doesn't mean don't move your hand, but it means hold it still so that when you let go, it goes straight. You know? Anyhow, the most important thing about making this arrow go straight is the KHAUTRA. I call it the English KHAUTRA. You can call it what you want, but some people say it's the push, the press forward, I call it. It's the KHAUTRA. Deadly friendly. You know that little boom? That's the KHAUTRA. So, you know, I'll line it all up first, get my head, do my steps, okay? But watch for the KHAUTRA. That's it. It's right there. It's just a little press forward. And the thing is that if it's the right hand that causes all the misses, when you open those fingers, it's pushing the back of that arrow all over the place. The only chance you got is to push it into the target. KHAUTRA. You get it back, and you just, it's not a big move. You know, it doesn't have to be the big boo and all this kind of stuff. But it's the same idea. Punch that target. That's what directs that arrow forward. Extremely important. And until you realize that, you're never going to make it. Boom. Oh, I'm out of arrows. You know, guys, it's nighttime, you know, like it's black before you can do anything, so I was going to go over shooting, and I can't go over shooting because by the time I would get there, it would be getting dark. So here we are in the Great Hall, having a ball. Look it. Push forward. You know, the Asians, of course, make a bigger movement often, but a lot of times you'll just see them do this kind of thing too. So that's all it is. You're pressing forward, the arrow just, or the bow just drops out of the way, and the arrow goes straight. Anyhow, get some arrows, be back in a minute. Okay, my friends. The purpose of the KHAUTRA is to have the arrow lined up and push towards it. There's many ways of holding. You know, you'll see people hold the bow like this, you know. Howard Hill said to hold the bow just like a suitcase, just like you had your hand around a suitcase, you just held it. But yes, you'll see this and you'll see this or just that, or you'll see people that have a string tied around the wrist, or they hold their fingers open, and all these kinds of things. All fine and good, but really press towards the target. Also, when you're drawing, in this case I'm doing the straight draw. You know, it's on the center line and it's coming back straight towards my eye. But you'll see that when you first start to pull, you know, the arrow starts to move around a little bit. So as it comes back, you know, if it goes off to the left, put it on. Keep it coming back. If it goes off to the right, put it back on. If it goes off to the left, after a couple of times, it'll come straight back, especially from about 4 inches. That last little part, that's where Horace Ford said that most people screw up. You know, they pull it off the line on that last little bit. But if it's coming to your eye, you can tell when it's coming straight. You know? But basically that's it. You know, I am correcting as it comes back. I'm keeping that tip on, and I'm getting the back end to come right into here, right under my eye. It's an art. Strength is important. Getting used to it is important. You know, people that know how to shoot, they're not watching this, you know, not really, because they know how to shoot. But for you guys that are working on it still, and I still am too, we're always working on it, but it'll help you out quite a bit. But tonight we're talking about the KHAUTRA. One of the benefits of the KHAUTRA is it pushes forward, it helps you to release without releasing, because releasing is bad. Releasing makes you miss the beautiful release. There's no such a thing as a beautiful release. Ugly, ugly release. Get it right into that little pocket, right? And just a little push and boom, there we go. Okay, boys, anyhow, get some arrows and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, my friends. Well, guys, I guess that's enough for this evening. So let's just go over what we're doing. We are looking at the target with the weak eye. And then we're putting up the arrow, pointing it at the target. We're taking a front step to keep the point in the spot and lifting up the back foot and just straight back and that will just let everything line up to our eye. We're lining up to our eye and this spot here. Remember, if I go up from the corner of my mouth, I end up at that spot. So it's the same line, but very high to the eye. And we're just letting it all relax and hang and pressing forward with a little KHAUTRA. And that's basically it. Okay, so that's what we're doing today. And we'll just see our parting shot. But this system of drawing high to the eye is working very well, you know, quite centered. It's a very good way of selecting elevation. Yeah, it's a very good way of picking the elevation. I think it's a big help because it cuts my gap in half. Anyhow, you guys have a good night. I'll talk to you later. Bye now.